What is going on, everyone? This is Sulky, and maybe you are sick and tired of playing the same old games on the Nintendo Switch. So in this video, I'm going to give you my top recommendations for the best games on this console, regardless of when they came out. So in this video, you'll see some games that happen to come out in 2020 and some older games on here. But regardless, these are my absolute favorites, and I highly recommend them. So if you are excited, give this video a like, and let's get started. Now, if you don't know me, and this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, I'm primarily an Animal Crossing YouTuber. I love the game. I've been playing it since it first came out in the early 2000s with population growing. So naturally, New Horizons is one of my favorite games on the Switch. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Animal Crossing, this game in particular allows you to purchase a getaway package to a remote island that you essentially have to build up from scratch. As you begin building your island, animals will begin to inhabit it, and these are essentially your villagers and the characters that you're going to get to know. And besides building up relationships with them, you're also going to help build up the island by decorating it. I think that that's one of the primary focuses of the game, which is a little different from past games, but for this one specifically, there's a lot of emphasis on decorating your island and making it the best island it can be. There's also an online component to it, which allows you to play with friends, and on top of that, Animal Crossing is getting continuous updates. So whether you're playing it every single day or whether you just pick it up for those events, you'll still have fun. There's really no goal to the game. It's kind of you play it as you would want to play it. There's some things you could do, like finishing your museum, catching every critter in the game, getting every villager's photo after establishing a relationship with them, but you don't necessarily have to do any of those things in order to quote-unquote progress in the game. It's definitely a game that I'll play for a really long time and then maybe put it down and then pick it back up again, but with these updates that Nintendo keeps consistently putting in the game, at least it has the momentum to continue being relevant. Now, next on our list is a game that I actually play all the time as well, and that is Tetris 99. Yeah, that's right, Tetris. Now, this is a battle royale style game that allows you to go into a lobby with 98 other players and battle it out during Tetris. Now, this is one of those games that I can just mindlessly sit and play over and over again, but it's also a game that I like to stream because it does allow you to create your own private room so you can play with your friends if that's what you'd like. There's a ton of objectives and little badges that you can receive for completing certain things in the game, but if you're interested in building blocks, I think for me it's more so I have OCD, so I love just like playing it. It's my way of organizing, if you will. But this game is really fun, and once you pick it up, you will not want to put it down. When I first started playing this game on Twitch, not many of my viewers were actually familiar with Tetris, but as we progressed and played it together, a lot more people got involved, and honestly, it's highly addictive. So once you pick up this game, you will not want to put it down. Now, next on the list is another game that I love to play with friends, and that is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now, I think that everyone is familiar with Mario Kart and how infuriating it could be, but essentially you pick a Nintendo character to be and you race it out with either your friends or you can go into a public lobby. There's also single player if you want to just practice with computers, but this is just a timeless game. I absolutely love Mario Kart, and honestly, I love how beautiful Mario Kart 8 is. This is pretty obvious, but one of my favorite maps to play on this one is the Animal Crossing one because it just looks absolutely gorgeous. So that's why I'm adding this one to the list. Now, next on our list is a game that I love to pick up and literally not put down. This is one of those games where I get addicted to it and play it for like 3 months straight and then get sick of it, similar to how I play The Sims. But Stardew Valley is basically an open-ended country life RPG that's been out for quite a while. But essentially what you do is inherit your grandfather's farm in Stardew Valley and begin to live out a new life. You'll start to build up your farm while also kind of building up the city. You'll build relationships with the people who live there, as well as build up some of the old buildings such as the community center, but there's just so much to it. You're going to start improving your skills in this game, such as farming, mining, fishing, foraging, and combat, and basically just explore the environment around you. This is another game where you can kind of just play as you want to. You don't necessarily have to be the best fisher there is if that's not what you're into and maybe you want to focus on farming instead. That's totally okay. This game is essentially what you make it. You'll go through the 4 seasons and have to adapt with the weather changes. And what's cool about this game is that you can actually play it online if you want to and play with friends. And because of all that Stardew Valley can provide, that's why I had to include it on my list. Now, next is a game that's actually similar to Stardew Valley, and that Stardew Valley actually borrowed from. This year's Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral Town came to the Nintendo Switch, which is basically the new Harvest Moon, if you're familiar with that game. And essentially it has the same structure. You inherit a farm and you have to build that up while also building up your relationships with members of Mineral Town. Besides tending to your farm, you can also cook, fish, and all of the other wonderful things that you can do as a farmer. Now, this one is actually a one-player game. You cannot do multiplayer on it, but still, Story of Seasons is packed with so many things to do. You'll find yourself getting sucked into doing the day-to-day tasks and trying to achieve goals, like making your farm better, or maybe building up relationships with some of the people who live in Mineral Town so you can maybe fall in love and start a family. But regardless, this game is awesome and it gives you that nostalgia from Harvest Moon, so that's why I'm including this one on the list. Now, next, we have to talk about Pokemon Sword and Shield. With all of the new DLC that dropped this year, there is so much to do to this game. Obviously, it's operating like every other Pokemon game out there, but after you've completed the game, maybe you are shiny hunting or whatever it may be, at least you have the other DLC to look out for. Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra both dropped this year to give you even more to do, more places to explore, and new Pokemon to catch. And honestly, Pokemon is just classic and timeless. Anytime a new game comes out, obviously I'm going to purchase it, but I really loved the way that this game looked. Obviously a significant improvement from past games. And I think one of my favorite things about this one was the wild area and how enormous it was. And I also really like the idea of going into a den and raiding it with either strangers or your friends. The max raid battles definitely keep the game exciting, and I think that everyone overall can just continuously play Pokemon over and over again. There's always something to achieve there, either collecting all of the shinies or maybe building the best team. But Pokemon is just one of those games that absolutely needs to be included on my list here. Now, next on my list, I need to talk about Super Mario 3D All-Stars, and specifically Super Mario 64. Now, this game brought me back. I was super excited to see that we were going to be able to play this on the Switch. Now, this Mario hype that we got was absolutely awesome. I will say this, if you have yet to get the game, it is only going to be available through March 31st. But besides reliving my childhood and playing Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy are also a part of this bundle here, so there's so much going on for this 35th anniversary for Mario. Now, the last game that I want to talk about here is actually an indie game that I was blown away by because of its story, and that is Spiritfarer. So in this game, you're going to play as Stella, who essentially is the caretaker for spirits before they finally go to the afterlife. There is so much emotion in this game. And there's also a lot of day-to-day components that you can do. Besides building relationships with the spirits, you're also going to farm, fish, mine, cook, harvest, and craft your way through the map. And there's also this general coziness to the game. It could be the art style or the music, but everything about this game is just so well put together. And I don't want to say too much about it, just in case you haven't played. I don't want to spoil it for you, but the game is really thought out and very much deserving of your time to sit through and play. Now, I want to talk about some honorable mentions here. So Breath of the Wild, obviously one of the most beautiful games on the Nintendo Switch. The game came out in 2017, but honestly, I see myself going back to it again and again just because of how beautiful it is. Even though I've already completed the story for it, it's still worth playing over again. Basically, you're going to explore this open world freely. You can figure out what you want to do next in the game. There's not necessarily a path for you to go on for completing it, but essentially what you want to do is take on Calamity Ganon and save the Kingdom of Hyrule. There's shrines that will help you level up that are essentially like puzzles, as well as getting a hold of the divine beasts that have huge puzzles within them for you to solve in order to get there. But you'll make your way through vastly different areas of Hyrule, learning about your past and what you had forgotten, as well as making friends and remaking friends with some past people that you no longer know. But overall, the game is so beautiful. Now, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity had just come out not too long ago, and I was really actually hyped up for this game, but after doing some gameplay, it just wasn't necessarily something that I was interested in pursuing. It's pretty redundant in that you're just killing Boklebins and other enemies over and over again. I think I was most excited about seeing the champions in Zelda and fighting riding alongside them. So I was primarily in it for the story of what happened 100 years prior to Breath of the Wild, but the actual gameplay was not something that I was too interested in, so that's why I'm not necessarily including it on this list. And that about does it for some of the best games on the Nintendo Switch. So let me know if you've played any of these games that I've mentioned on the list, or if you're excited to dive into a new game. But either way, I hope that this list helps you out and gives you something to look forward to while playing on the Nintendo Switch console. Let me know down in the comments below what your favorite game is to play on this console. I would love to hear it, and thank you all so much for the support. I will see you in the next video.